Unit 2 example for 3-13 is identical to your assigned problem. We change the numbers so that we can demonstrate how to use the data in Excel. So for problem 3-13, we are given a table of accounts in no particular order. Some of these accounts will go to the balance sheet while others will be used for the income statement. I'm just going to have to kind of follow our example to figure out which goes where. We take this data and we prepare the balance sheet and income statement for Warner Company. Look at the example we have created and compare it to the blank template you are given. So here's what we did, and let's move this over so you can compare. For current assets right here, you're only given 3 rows, but you're going to need 4 rows, as you can see here, to input the data. It's a good idea to go ahead and prepare the blank balance sheet first by adding rows and typing the accounts from the table. So you're going to print this. I would print this so that you can kind of follow it along and just add the rows. So, and I'm going to have to move this over to show you. Okay, so we need 4 rows for current assets. I'm just going to click on the row 6, right mouse click on row 6, and then just insert. There's the 4. Now you have and don't worry about what happens over here in the income statement. We can fix this easily once we are done. Then we'll just go ahead and type the information you need. Cash, and then go down to the next line, accounts receivable. And inventory. And then the fourth one is the total current assets. I guess I could capitalize it. It doesn't really matter. Okay. The other thing you need to know is that this right here, this column here is going to be dollars. This is your dollar amount. So you're going to click on that to make dollars. You can actually do that for all of these. Just go ahead and click dollar. And it will just do that for you. So it's already in there. Okay. Now, I would go ahead and just type in all of the different rows you need to add and then type in the information. So long-term fixed, we need 4. I only have 3. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to add rows again. Same the way you do everything is just click on on the middle row if you can. And you see how it's highlighted? Just right mouse click and hit insert. And I only needed 4, so I'm good. And then you're going to do that to all of these and then type in the information before we add the dollar amount. So I'm going to pause and go ahead and type all that in. Okay, so I've got this all typed up. Now, notice in here we have some thick border, and the thick border represents balances. So in order to do that so that you know that you're going to be creating a balance, you're just going to click the cell that's going to be the last item that you're going to add to make the balance. So here, inventory. So I'm going to click on that cell, and let me make this a little larger so you can see. And then I'm going to go up here to the Home tab, and where the font is, these are our borders. So you open it up, scroll down, and choose thick bottom border. So if I follow all of the items that I need thick bottom border, I will do that to all of this. So I need one under total fixed assets. It's already highlighted, so all I have to do that. And also total assets. Let me see, the next one is going to be under notes payable. I'm going to click on notes payable to make that balance bottom. Long-term debt, another one. I'm going to click on retained earnings so I can do a balance, and then that's it. Okay, so now the next step is to go look at your table back up here. And it's a good idea if you can to once you locate like cash to once you type it in, then just put a line across it so that you don't so you'll keep an tabs on what ones you're still needing to do input. So I'm going to type 226,000 right here. Now it's in the dollar mode, so it is including cents. So if you want to, you literally can go up here to the number in the ribbon toolbar and decrease decimals so that it's a whole number. Okay, and then you can do that for all of these. You can already just click twice and it should be okay. Go ahead and type in all that. So I'm going to type in all the numbers. I'll just do the first one, the accounts receivable is 167,500, and then inventory is 99,300. So my job is to go ahead and add these three values up, and it comes to 492,800. Okay, and then you just keep doing that to all of these. The one note I do need to make, and I'll go ahead and fill out buildings and equipment, 89,300. Okay, now accumulated depreciation, if you look at the example, it's in parentheses. That's because you have to subtract it. And that information can be found on pages 51, 54, and 59. It explains this in greater detail. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in there and then add them all up again. 262. Okay, let me see what it is. I'm sorry, that's 262,300. It's wrong. It should just be that. Now, in my example, we have it in red, and if you want to do that, it doesn't matter. You can. All you have to do is go up to number, open this up, and then choose it will, it's that number. It opened up formatting cell, so you could choose that and do it. It doesn't matter one way or the other. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish this. So I'm going to add 897, 300,000 less 262,000, and I'm going to get my total fixed asset of 635,300. Okay, now total assets, you're adding the total current assets plus the total fixed assets. You're adding this number with this number to get this total asset, which is 1,128,100. Okay, so let me go ahead and fill all that out and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me go to total liabilities right here. And how did we get that 576,200? We took the long-term debt amount that we found in our table and we also added this. It is this number and this number combined to get that 576,200. Okay, and then there's that. So there's all that information that you need to answer some of these questions here. But let's go up to the income statement. That's our next step. All you got to do, first of all, is just highlight this, left mouse click, highlight it, right mouse click, and then clear contents. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the example and we're just going to type these line items right here. So I'm going to just type them. I'm not going to do this yet, but I'm going to type them and then I'll be right back. And then we'll be putting in these values over on in this column here. And as you can see, it's probably not large enough. So I'm going to just, I'm just going to reach up here in between the E and F and get this to look, my icon to look like that and just give it a little bit more room. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just type sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, skip a little and come down here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all this typed up and now the next thing I'm going to do is look at my example And I'm going to put those thick bottom borders where they need to be. In other words, I'm going to put a thick bottom border at the cost of goods sold um, cell, where I would put it right here. So I've already got the thick bottom border up here. And you notice as I move this cursor up there, it popped open and says thick bottom border. So that's what I'm going to do. And then the next one is going to be general and administrative expenses. So I'll put one there. And you know where you need to put them because right below it will say total or something like that. And then the next one is interest expense. So I'll put that there. And then under the taxes. Okay. Now, the next step, if you look here, I've got sales, cost of goods sold, gross profits. Why is cost of goods sold in red? Because you have to subtract it to get your gross profits from your sales. So you'll see anything that says expensive, you see how it's in red because we chose that number to a negative number to be in red parentheses. So just remember that that's what's going to be. Now, taxes, that's in that table up here. 50,700. So some of this stuff right here, like sales, 576,000, there's our sales right here. Okay, so you're going to still be using this table to find some of your numbers for the income statement. Okay, so I'm going to type in sales of 576,000 on that. And it's most likely, let me see if it, I don't know if I did or didn't. Okay, so it's not even in dollar mode. So let me go ahead and grab all of this. It doesn't matter. I'm going to grab it all and put it in dollar mode. And then I don't want it to be, I want it to be only no decimals. So I'm going to move this twice. There. Now all I have to do is type in cost of goods sold is negative 299. So if I go 299, comma 000, it's in that format. So let me go back up here so I can be more consistent. And I'm going to go to number and I'm going to choose this one. Okay. You don't have to do that. You could just left it as negative 299. And then I know that I combine these two to get my gross profits, and that's 277,000. Remember, this is really in millions. So you can imagine if we had to add 6 zeros to all this, it would be just overwhelming. So we just leave it as is. And you should say something like in millions or something like that. Up here, current assets, you could put parentheses in millions. But, okay, so operating expenses, nothing goes there. That's just kind of like a header. So depreciation expenses, we get that 65,000 from our table. So I'll just go negative 65,000 and it should, I guess I forgot to do that. So let me grab all of this. And if it's any negative value, automatically go to number and do that. And it will automatically do that if it's a negative value. General and administrative expenses, if I type negative 78,000, it should pop up in that format. So let's test it. Negative 78,123, and it does. Okay, total operating expenses. You're just going to add these two negative values together because remember, it's an expense. So when you add 65,000 to 78,000, it's still going to be in the negative. So we say negative 143, and there it is. Now, operating income is 134,000. Okay, and interest expense, which we find in our table. Go up here again. Oops, sorry. It's up here. So all of your information is here other than those things that you have to add together. Okay, so operating income is calculated by interest expense, excuse me, is right here, 4,250, and it's an expense, so we need to say minus, and that's 4,250. Oops, sorry. And then earnings before taxes, you take the 134,000 and you subtract the 4,250 from it to get your answer. And that's going to be 1,200 129,750. I literally took 134, subtracted 42.50. Now, taxes, we look at that table again, and it was 50,700, but it's an expense, so we have to make it negative. And now we take, to get our net income, we subtract the 50,700 from the 129,750, and we get 79,050. Okay, so there is our income statement. This is the bottom line right here, what we wanted. That was what we were going after. Now, if you look over here, you see these percent symbols next to certain items. And the reason we put those there is to help answer the questions down below. And the way you do this is every one of these, cost of goods sold, gross profits, depreciation expenses, every one of these line items is calculated, that this percent is calculated by taking whatever the line item value is, in this case, the 299,000, that's my numerator, and dividing it by sales. Sales is going to be your denominator, okay, for all of these calculations. 576,000, and then you'll get 51.91%. Gross profits, 277,000 divided, 277,000 divided by 576. Every single one of these percentages was calculated that way. Just don't worry about the negativity of it. Just take 65,000 divided by 576,000. You'll get 11.28%. It's just a ratio of your expenses to your sales. Even your net income is being used, your EBT, your EBIT. We're just getting a percentage of what it is to the sales to begin with before any taxes or anything is subtracted. And then you take these values and you can use them to answer your questions. Now, when you have to answer this in the spreadsheet, you just go down to here, click on the cell and answer your questions. I can't say anything other than whatever your answers will be slightly different than ours based on your results. But we did provide them for you so that you can kind of look at them and see how we answer the questions.